Namaste and welcome, Yin Yogis. My name is Kymberli and I'm going to guide you through a 60-minute Yin Yoga practice focusing on our hips. So if you've been doing lots of sitting lately or out exercising and cycling or lots of running or walking, you're going to love this sequence. What you're going to need for your practice today: a couple of yoga blocks, maybe a yoga strap. Now, don't fret if you don't have yoga blocks or a fancy strap. Grab yourself a couple of rolled up towels, maybe even 4 of them. If you don't have a strap, use a scarf, resistance band, a bathrobe tie, even like a men's tie. Just something that you can use to think of as an extension of your arms, okay? All right. Are you excited like I am? I'm so excited. I love teaching Yin. So anyways, we're going to start actually on our backs in Shavasana. So coming down onto your back here, we're actually going to take the knees to touch bent, and we're going to take the feet wide to the edges of the mat. So we're in a modified Shavasana here called Resting Pose. I'm going to place the left hand over my heart and the right hand over my belly. It's a little drawing of my chin down towards my chest. I'm going to close my eyes. I'm going to slowly start to breathe deeply in and out through my nose, using these first few moments in this shape as an opportunity for us to arrive into our body. Just to notice what we feel here in terms of sensation already. Getting to notice the quality of our breath as it moves in and out through our body. And for me, the breath is the most important part of my Yin practice. Always want you to think of your breath as a prop. Each pose that we take today, whether it is a posture that is going to challenge you in terms of sensation or not, I want you to always invite that breath. And now slowly start to take some longer breaths. Inhaling a little deeper. Exhaling and emptying out completely. Let's take 2 more breaths here, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Again, breathe in to fill. And breathe out to empty. Continue to let the breath resonate in and out through the nose only. And start to heel toe your feet a little closer together. One at a time, draw the knees in towards the chest. Alpanasana here with a gentle rock from side to side. Coming back to center, let's open the knees nice and wide. And start to make some big circles here, stirring the knees around, just like stirring a big pot of soup. Try to keep the tailbone as lengthened towards the back of your mat as possible here. And then reverse, go the opposite direction. Eventually drawing the knees back together in towards the chest. And then place the left foot only down onto the mat. Draw the right knee in towards that right shoulder. We're going to come into stick pose. Now with stick pose, sometimes holding on to the shin or even underneath the hamstring doesn't feel so accessible for some of us. This is where your strap might come into place, or your scarf. You're going to take that and you can place it around your shin and hold on to it on either side of your knee, and then use that strap to start to draw the knee in towards the shoulder. There's a little drawing of the chin down towards the chest. Face and inside of the mouth is soft and relaxed. Now, if this is okay on your lower back, feel free to extend your left leg long. And finding stillness here in the shape. And start to watch yourself breathe. And it's okay if your mind wanders. Just simply come back to the breath every time. So anchor yourself with either the movement, the sound, or the sensation of that breath moving in you. Keep your shoulders relaxed. Neck is soft. See if you can breathe deeply to a place where you're already starting to notice there is space being created. So keeping the shape here of that right knee drawing into your right shoulder. If your left leg is extended, you're going to start to walk that foot back onto your mat. And then take the right leg up into the air for a moment just to release the knee. Point and flex the toes a couple of times. Circle out the ankle, both directions. And then coming into a reclined pigeon pose, we're going to bring that right ankle to cross over top of that left thigh. So figure four position, also known. Using either your hand or perhaps a block or even your towel rolled up, you can place that onto the inner right thigh and begin to encourage the lengthening of that inner hip and the knee outwards as you try to bring the ankle, shin, and knee parallel with a deep flex in your right toes. Start to find a deeper, longer breath here. Always coming back to the breath as often as you need to. And of course, honoring your physical body, every single pose. If something doesn't feel right, if the hold is simply too long, always just listening to the body's communication. Take rest as you need to. Pause when you need to. Always continue to breathe. Taking 5 more deep breaths here, in through the nose. Maybe offering that breath out through an open mouth. And take one very deep breath in to fill. Part the lips, exhale through an open mouth. Return the breath back in and out through the nose as you release that right leg up into the air again. And then bending the knee, place the foot onto the mat. Pause here for a moment. Can you take a few breaths and just notice how you feel here? How do you feel different? Where do you feel different? Where do you feel that space? And from here, draw both knees back into the chest once again, finding that gentle little rock from side to side. Pausing back at center, placing the right foot down onto the mat. Let's hug the left knee in towards the chest for stick pose here on the left side. Again, you can always use that strap as an extension of your arms. If your lower back feels okay here, feel free to lengthen that right leg long. Draw the chin down towards the chest, eyes closed, and start to find your breath once again. Remember that breathing deeply in your yin practice is so important. It is what invites that space into your body. It is what releases that tension from your body. It is what grounds you here in your practice. For those of you that are very comfortable with your pranayama, your breath work, feel free to exhale just a little bit longer than you're inhaling. And of course, feel free to pause to suspend the breath between the inhale and the exhale. Unless, of course, you're pregnant, please keep breathing. Feel that breath moving up in your belly, up across your rib cage, right up into your lungs. Slowly emptying your breath. Five more deep breaths in through the nose. Again, perhaps out through an open mouth. Okay, take one more deep breath in. Send it out, clear it out through an open mouth. Walk the right foot onto the mat if you had it lengthened out. Extend the left leg up into the air. Once again, point and flex the toes, circle out the ankle a few times in each direction. And then coming into reclined pigeon or figure four, left ankle over top of right thigh, deep flex into those left toes. Grabbing your block or towel if you have it rolled up, place it to the inner thigh and encourage the thigh to open and lengthen as your tailbone releases forward and down towards the back of your mat. Draw the chin to the chest, the eyes to close. Start to find your breath again. When you practice postures on both sides of your body, it is such a beautiful awareness to be able to notice the difference, the shift from one side of the body to the other. So if you can, in the back of your mind, just slowly start to notice, how do you feel different here on this left side versus the right? How is your breath different? Where do you feel the sensation differently? Allow your mind to explore what you feel. Let it take you into the places in your body where maybe you have not noticed before. Keep that left foot flexed. And keep inviting the knee to open and the breath to deepen. And we're here for 5 more breaths. And take one deep breath in. Send one long breath out. Release your left hand down, blocks to the side. Extend that left leg up into the air once again. And then slowly bend the knee. Place the foot down onto the mat. Pause once again here in resting pose. Place the hands onto the belly. Notice what you feel. It's such a gift to notice what you feel. Slowly walk the feet a little closer in towards one another. Knees back into the chest. Once again, gently rock from side to side. And from here, we're going to move into Reclined Butterfly. So having your blocks or towels close by you, you're going to bring the soles of your feet together. Let your knees open wide. Take a little bit of a wider stance. So drawing your feet a little closer down towards the bottom of your mat. So you're making more of a triangle with your thighs. Maybe sliding those props underneath your thighs a little closer up towards the hips for more support of the hips and the lower back. And feel free to place the arms wherever it's comfortable. Might be resting onto the body, maybe out from your side, maybe even up above the head. If at any point you find yourself disconnecting from breath, this is where placing the hands onto the body would really be quite beneficial here. Just feeling and sensing the movement of the breath. Draw the chin down to the chest, slide your shoulder blades apart. Create a layer of space between the upper and the lower molars inside your mouth. And start to find a nice, slow, deep rhythm to your breath. And to encourage that release of tension in the body, feel free to start to lengthen your exhale. It's a little bit longer than the inhale. Keep softening. Keep noticing sensation. Keep coming back to your breath. Now, if your hands are somewhere other than on your belly, please start to bring your hands onto the belly with your palms facing down. And start to watch yourself breathe here. Slow your breath right down. Take a deep breath in to fill. Take a slow, long breath out to empty. Seal the lips and slowly bring the breath back in and out through the nose. Place your hands underneath your thighs. Gently start to bring your feet back onto the mat, your knees back up. Once again, pause here. Notice what you feel. Watch yourself breathe. Enjoy the space. From here, heel toe your feet a little closer together. Extend your left arm up above your head. You're going to roll over onto your left side into a fetal pose. So you're resting on your yin side body here. 3 deep breaths. Using your left or your right hand, pardon me, you're going to slowly press into your right palm and begin to lift yourself up. And just come to sit on your heels here in Seiza. Now, if this is not comfortable, feel free to sit on the block or into a cross-legged position. Just from this upright position, hands onto the lap, palms facing up. Close your eyes for a moment. And notice, how do you feel sitting upright here? Where do you notice you have created some space and some length? And if you had to describe in 1 or 2 words how you feel, what would that be? For me, I feel space here. I feel release. Two more deep breaths. Begin to slowly open the eyes. Let's meet in a tabletop position here. So hands underneath the shoulders, knees stacked underneath your hips. From here, I'm just going to slowly start to shift your hips to the right. Look over your left shoulder. And then come back to center as you inhale. And shift your hips to the left. Look over your right shoulder. And then just keep going from side to side here a few times. Encouraging each time you come over, see if you can shift your hips a little bit more. You're going to finish 2 more rounds. And then we'll meet back in center. From here, we're moving into, into a wide knee child's pose, or also known as tadpole. So keeping the big toes to touch, you're going to open your knees nice and wide. Sit your hips back towards your heels. This is where the blocks or your towels rolled up can be really handy. You can tuck one underneath your seat if your hips are not coming back to the heels easily. Alternatively, placing those props in front of your belly and chest and folding down onto them. So maybe you're folding down to forehead onto a block. Maybe you're going to be having stacked fists. You're going to dress your forehead down. We're just finding a place here where you can feel some sensation through the outer part of your hips, the inner thighs, of course your lower back. So once you come to that still place here, I invite you to close your eyes down. Let your shoulders soften away from your ears and start to find that nice long deep breath. So keep breathing nice and slow, nice and deep. Focus on the breath lengthening through the back line of your body. We're going to be here for another couple of minutes, but for those of you that would like to move into something a little bit deeper here, I'm going to give you an option of moving into frog pose. Now, if you know me and you know I love a good hip opening yin practice, that includes frog. So for those of you that want to join me up in frog, you're going to start to walk your hands back up onto the floor and start to lift yourself up. Okay. Now, keeping your knees nice and wide, you're going to start to bring your ankles so that they are parallel with your shin and your knees, and your toes are flexing back towards your knees. Okay. Now, here's the challenge with frog pose for a lot of people. Shifting the hips back towards the heels is difficult. So rather than focusing on trying to shift back, think about coming a little bit more forward actually, and using those props underneath you as a layer of support. And then just allowing the chest to melt down onto that support. Maybe you've got stacked fists or you've got block or towel rolled up to rest your forehead down. Try to soften into your inner thighs. I know this is a pretty intense posture, but this is where your breath is really going to be important here. Of course, honoring the space that your body has, so we're never pushing, we are never forcing. We are simply encouraging the body to open at a comfortable sensation. So here in this shape, I love to focus on my exhale. My exhale is what just really allows my body to open up and to create that space. So maybe taking these next few breaths here in through the nose and out through the mouth. Last deep breath in, slow breath out. Now, if you're in frog, just slowly start to walk yourself back up onto your hands, lift up. Start to walk the feet in a little bit closer towards one another. And now we're all here in still this wide knee tadpole position. Just lift your hips up a little bit and start to walk your knees in towards one another. Don't pull or drag the knees in. The tissues of the inner thighs can be really fragile here. And then if you can, sit back once again in Seiza or sitting cross-legged. Pause. breathe. Just notice all that sensation in the body as it releases out. And you're continuing with that nice, long, deep rhythm of breath here. And from here, come on over to one hip. Slide your legs out in front of you. Bring your hands back behind you, bend your knees, and start to windshield wiper the legs from side to side. Nice and slow here. Nothing fast here in yin. This is all about being passive, soft, and relaxed. Come back to center. Extend the legs out for a moment. Give them a little bit of a shake. Hips a little bit of a shake here. Okay. And then our next posture, I'm going to recommend that you sit up on the edge of a block, or if you have a rolled up towel or blanket, you're going to sit up on the edge of that just to give your pelvis a little bit of a natural tilt. So two options for our next pose. First one is just going to be a comfortable cross-legged seated position to open up the hips. Those would be for the people that either have concerns with the knees or if the hips are exceptionally tight. So if you're coming into a cross-legged position, you're going to have the left leg forward, the right foot inside. Okay, with a slight little flex of both feet back towards the knees. Now, if this option doesn't really feel like it's going to do much for you and your knees are okay, then you're going to move into shoelace pose instead. So from shoelace, we're going to have the legs extended out. I'm going to cross my left leg over top of my right, and I might stay here in a half shoelace. This might be plenty for me. If my knee is popped up really high, this is where I might grab myself a block or towels rolled up and place it actually underneath my ankle. Doesn't matter at all that my knees are not stacked one on top of the other. It's totally okay. So this is another option as well. For those of you where the knees are okay and you've got fairly open hips, then you can come into the full variation of shoelace so that right leg crosses underneath. And I'm attempting to draw my knees stacked on one on top of the other, but honestly, it doesn't matter. But if you prefer this variation, but then this leg starts to lift up, this is where a prop underneath that right ankle can be really nice. It might mean that your knee is out a little bit more. That's totally okay. Right. So we're going to take an upright position here. So whether you're in that cross-legged position, half shoelace, or a full variation of shoelace, just relax your arms down towards your sides. Close your eyes. Feel the base of your tailbone grounding down into the mat as you lengthen up through the spine. And then just slowly start to come into your breath here. Nice, slow, long, deep breaths in and out through your nose. Again, we're not trying to push or force anything here. We're being very mindful of how we feel. If at any point you start to feel sensation in the knees that is either sharp or shooting or electrical in nature, or just feels like it's too much of a stress on the joint, please come out of the shape and just simply rest on your back. Slow the breath down. And within the stillness of this shape, see if you can start to lengthen out your breath. Remember that your breath is your prop here. Use it to your fullest advantage. Stay fully connected and centered on that breath in and the breath out. Now for the last few breaths, you're welcome to fold forward if you like, any amount. You can start to walk the hands forward in front of you. Maybe your hands are going to come onto a block if you feel like the floor might be a little bit too far. And of course, it is totally okay to stay up here, whether you're in this variation, the full variation, or half variation, or seated cross-legged position. Remember, all practice is good. We honor the body and what it's capable of. Last 10 breaths here. And take a deep breath in through the nose. Send a long breath out through an open mouth. Allow the eyes to open. If you're in full shoelace or half, just bring your hands back behind you, roll back a little bit, release out, right leg first and then left. If you're in cross-legged position, just uncross the legs. Give the legs a gentle little shake. And then once again, we'll just do a few rounds of windshield wipers, just slowly drawing the knees from side to side. No rush here. Take your time. You come back to center. And we'll do the other side. So option 1 is a cross-legged seated position with the right leg forward and the left leg back. Little flex of those toes back towards the knees. Option 2, legs are lengthened out. We're going to cross the right leg over top of the left for a half shoelace pose. Again, prop up underneath the ankle if you're feeling like you need some support for the knee and the hip joint. If your knees are okay here, finding that full shoelace variation here. Okay. Sitting up tall, drawing your sit bones down and lengthening up from the base, closing the eyes, softening the face, the features around the neck, the shoulders. Start to watch yourself breathe. Just finding an appropriate rhythm of breath for you in this shape. this point in the practice, your mind may be starting to wander a little more. Just keep coming back. Maybe you start to count the breath mentally in your mind. I am inhaling, 1, 2, 3. I am exhaling, 3, 2, 1. See if you can start to slow the breath down a little bit more. And focus on a longer breath out. Keep noticing your breath. Keep creating that intention in your mind of space, release, awareness. We're here for 5 more deep breaths. If you want to, you can slowly start to fold forward in your shape. Just rounding out the spine a little bit here and tucking the chin to the chest. If you took a fold, just slowly start to lengthen yourself back up. Roll back a little bit. Uncross and release the legs. Again, give them a little bit of a shake. From here, you're either going to come into a cross-legged seated position, or you're going to come to sit Seiza style, sitting on your knees. Seiza is also known as hero pose. You're going to rest your hands onto your lap. Now, option 1, palms will face down if you want to keep the energy that you have created within you. If you're finding that you need a little bit of support from universe, turn your palms to face up. Slide your shoulder blades down your back. Lengthen up through your spine and close your eyes. Mentally in your mind, you're going to start to count the breath. So whether you are inhaling and exhaling for a count of 3, 4, or 5, or even longer, mentally you're going to say, inhale, 1, 2, 3, or whatever length of time you're doing, and then you're going to mentally, again in the mind, as you exhale, say, exhale, 3, 2, and 1. You're going to continue that cycle of breath as we pause here for a few moments in meditation. If your mind wanders off, just come back. Just keep coming back. We call this a practice for a reason. Keep focusing on your breath. These last few rounds, we're going to place the left hand over the heart and the right hand over top of the left. And start to feel the sensation of the breath underneath the palms of your hands. Take one very deep breath in to fill. One slow, long breath out to empty. If you can keep your eyes closed, you're going to slowly start to release and make your way onto your back, coming into Shavasana. Now feel free to support your Shavasana with anything that you need. So blocks underneath your thighs. Maybe you're going to take one of your towels if you have one and cover your eyes. You're going to turn your palms to face up as you rest down onto your back. Slide your shoulder blades apart. Let the chin rest down to the chest. Let the eyes drift back into their sockets. Notice the stillness in the body. And at your own pace, take one very deep breath in through your nose. And send one very long breath out through an open mouth. And then allow the breath to find a natural, even pace. Bringing it almost to as still of a place as your body is in. Please feel free to stay here in Shavasana for as long as you like. In fact, I encourage you to soak up this stillness, this peace, for at least another 10 breaths, or maybe even up to another couple of minutes. Thank you so much for practicing, for honoring your body, for creating space. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, yogis, namaste. Have a beautiful rest of your day. May you sleep well.